The Equal Education Tertiary Society in the Western Cape has welcomed the introduction of the Student Debt Relief Bill, gazetted in February of this year. The Society sees the bill as a critical step toward achieving greater equity and access to higher education. Now, following consultations with students, the EETS submitted recommendations to Parliament aimed at improving the bill's impact and sustainability. Equal Education Tertiary Society's member Keneilwe Mokale joins us for more. Good evening, Keneilwe. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. So, for the benefit of those who might not be aware, let's start with what the bill seeks to achieve. Take us through this, please.
Good evening, South Africa. So the aim of the Student Debt Relief Bill is to provide a legislative framework for addressing student debt relief. So it seeks to establish a fund where student debt will be paid off to ensure that students who are facing financial barriers will be able to get their qualifications.
All right. Now, we understand that your submissions essentially came from the student imbizo that you convened last month. Just talk us through some of the submissions that you now have put through to the National Assembly.
So on the 28th of March, Equal Education Tertiary Society held an imbizo where we had students, different students and youth from the different parts of higher institutions in the Western Cape province, where we wanted to hear the views and opinions of the students, because this is mainly about students. So we wanted to hear what they had to say about the bill and their submissions to the Parliament as part of public participation. So some of these submissions included the bill being governed by a new. The bill was supposed to be governed by a new.
Pardon me, Keneilwe, can you just repeat that? It must be governed by a new entity or independent entity? I didn't catch that.
A new independent entity.
All right, okay. So can you perhaps share why the insistence or emphasis on independent entity here?
So as students, we believed that we wanted transparency in form of clear and accountable use of funds and also proper administration. We didn't want an old entity or an current entity that had scandalous and also dramatical history with misuse of funds and such things. So we believe that a new independent entity will be trustworthy enough.
Okay. So outside of that submission of having an entity that is independent of government, what else were some of the recommendations that you have now put forward as your submissions?
So we also wanted the government to actually have the primary responsibility in this, because we believe that it is within their constitutional obligation that they have to ensure that there is higher educational is accessible to everyone, including people from different parts of the country, including people from the village and all over the country.
Now, in what ways does your organization believe that the bill falls short of fully addressing the crisis in higher education? Because this is something that you actually indicated in your statement, that you believe to a certain extent it does help, but it does fall short in certain respects.
First of all, I don't think we would be here talking about the student debt relief if the government had implemented strategies, useful strategies that were going to be used. Because I was in primary when the fees must fall came into effect. And now that I'm in university and there's still people owing the universities, it's such a thing that is surprising and also amazing, because I think it's full assistance of the fee. So now we find ourselves looking to try to catch up those things and also do that, referring to student debt, on how students will pay off their student debts. But we wouldn't be here if the government is thinking about
All right, Keneilwe, unfortunately, we've lost some of what you stated there, but thank you very much. I think we did get the gist of at least the position of your institution. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. That's Equal Education Tertiary Society Member Keneilwe Mokale speaking to us.